live, baby. What's going on, yo? Welcome back to Swampcast. I'm here with my boy EJ. EJ, how are we feeling on this beautiful Sunday, man? We got a lot of stuff to get into, baby.
Man, a week until week 0. So are we in like week -1 right now?
That's what it
I
feels
guess
like.
so.
Oh yeah, dude. You can smell the turf. You can smell the freshly cut grass. And right around the corner. We're here. Man, we got week 0 games this Saturday. 6 days away, college football. Really, 5 days away if you want to, because I know some games on Friday as well. So man, even though it's no one crazy, it don't matter. I get to sit there and watch college football. I'm excited, man. I'm very excited. Halloween Horror Nights is also, starting up this week, baby.
Yeah.
We're lit. We're lit, baby. Man, EJ, dude, how excited are you? Let's just take a moment and I just want to hear your thoughts on this college football season. We wait months and months and months. It's been a long off season, but we're finally here. Just how does it feel, brother?
As soon as they start busting out the pumpkin spice lattes, which I actually saw somebody drinking one the other day, I'm kind of like, you know what? Football's in the air, people. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? Y'all have pumpkins at Halloween Horror Nights, right? Or is it jack-o'-lanterns?
They're pumpkins. We'll call them pumpkins. Either way, they're little orange circles.
That's what I want to ask everyone. How do you know it's fall? For me, it's like when they start drinking the pumpkin spice, but it's August, so it's kind of like it's still summer. I don't know. But we're super excited. We got a brand new coach. We got a brand new regime. Everyone loves Summerall. People like Napier too, but it was false hope.
Yeah.
So we're really excited to see how this is going to play out.
Oh yeah, man, it's exciting. And listen, we got some great things going on with Swampcast as well. A lot of great stuff coming up. Very excited. I mean, you guys already know the model, baby, that everyone hates. But you can't deny the model, baby. You can't deny the numbers. So we're going to dive into more with the model. We made a lot of changes to the model as well. And so that's the thing. The model's getting better every single week. And as the season goes along, it's going to get better every single week and also every single year going forward with this podcast, man. So a lot of great stuff right around the corner for the Swampcast, baby. Also a new look coming next week. So y'all be ready for that, man. Y'all be ready for that. All right, EJ. We got a lot to get into. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and just dive into it. I mean, look, slide 1 here on our beautiful PowerPoint shows. We got 9 days to kick off.
9 days,
dude. I mean, well, for the Gators, it's a little bit longer, obviously. But dude, we're almost there. We're almost there. Very exciting. Chomp has his 33rd out of 138 ranked. AP voters have his 27th. ESPN's FPI has us at 18th. So obviously the Chomp model's a little bit lower on the Florida Gators than I think a lot of Gator fans are wanting. But, we already kind of talked about it last week on what is actually integrated into the system. It takes a lot of what the previous year was because it's a preseason ranking. Preseason rankings they're false. They're just, you're basing it off of just estimates, guesses, and a lot of numbers that are going to really shift even week 1, no matter who you play. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what the model has for us at 33rd, which isn't bad, honestly. With, a brand new coach coming in, we'll take it. And with how, past 4 seasons, EJ, we had 1 season above 500, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So there you go. That right there, is all you really need to take from that. We're unranked. A lot of reasons listed here. I mean, look, we don't know who the hell our quarterback is. Offensive line still getting figured out, and our schedule's pretty brutal. I think we're 6th in the country, EJ, on strength of schedule. We said 1 last week, but we took a look at everything. Looks like we have the number 6 schedule, which is still absolute hell. Not fun at all. We absolutely hate that. But yeah, man. Where we're standing at. We're, listen, people are viewing us as 9th in the SEC, EJ, with the SEC media. People are hating on us, man. We're right behind Clemson in the AP points. So we'll see what happens, man. And the wins that the ESPN projects us is at about a 6.7. That's a funny meme if that was on purpose. But we're looking at about 6.7 on the win total. So we will see what happens. We love Coach Summerall bringing the energy all the time. Look, and EJ, I don't know if you want to touch on anything regarding that. I feel like we've already been kind of talking about that the last couple weeks. But if not, we can kind of dive into this quarterback situation because there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, let's dive right into the quarterback situation because but I did want to say real quick, you're absolutely right. So basically we're not ranked because we don't have a proven quarterback, our offensive line, and our schedule. So I hate to say it, but in college football, you aren't what your record says you are because we all play different strengths of schedule. But if we're only projected to win games, 6 or 7 games, then everyone's going to think we're a 6-win team, even though we played the number 6 strength of schedule. You know what I mean? So so be that as it may, the quarterback situation. What are they talking about now,
We
Logan?
got some good news, baby. Well, I don't know if it's good news. It depends how you want to take it. We got a lot of great stuff in here, though, man. Look, obviously the scrimmage notes really don't come out, EJ, until Monday, right? We do the podcast on Sundays, so whenever we do these big lives like this, we're not really going to have a lot of fresh notes for you, but there's a lot of rumors and a lot of leaks that came from this scrimmage that happened yesterday, EJ. This was a night scrimmage. Coach Summerall talked about this. Since the first 3 games are going to be taking place in late evening into the nighttime, EJ, they really wanted to give the Florida Gators and these players kind of that nighttime, atmosphere and get used to their bodies performing at a high level that late in the day. So, some updates here. So, obviously throughout the camp, what we've been hearing is that, Philo, and this is kind of about scrimmage 1, by the way, Philo taking most of the first team reps. They're talking about how he understands the system a lot more because this is his 3rd year under the Buster Faulkner system and how he just was a little bit more consistent compared to Trammell, even though Trammell had a lot more, shine, I guess. And maybe that's because he's running with the 2s. I don't really know. It's kind of hard to kind of, balance that and weigh that out. But he has not. I think what Buster Faulkner is looking for, and something that John Summerall talks a lot about in these press conferences, EJ, is that they're looking for consistency at the quarterback position. They're not looking for a Tim Tebow. They're not looking for a Danny Werfel. They're looking for a guy that can go in there and just operate the offense in a consistent manner. And we're talking more like 2019 Kyle Trask, right? And so that's kind of what they're looking for here, and just a consistent guy. But something that is kind of interesting. Past couple weeks, Summerall's been like, yeah, Trammell's been kind of taking strides forward, kind of been closing that gap a little bit, which is really, really interesting, EJ, because yesterday, from what we're getting from the reports, is that Trammell took reps with the 1s in the scrimmage. And, Philo, I think, might have been mixed in a little bit with it, but mostly was 2s. So, this is really interesting. I think this is a sign that honestly is good, and I'm not saying good because we don't want Philo to be the quarterback. I mean good because it shows that the bias is not there. The fact that Trammell is taking reps with the 1s, EJ, if they were fully set on Philo, Aaron Philo being the starting quarterback for the Florida Gators in this Buster Faulkner offense, which he's familiar with, then they would have definitely, they wouldn't have gone with, through Trammell with the 1s. They would want Aaron Philo to be and get as many reps with the 1s as possible. So I think this is a pretty interesting thing to take a look at, EJ. I don't know if you have anything you want to say about that, but I just I think that it's a good sign in the sense of you could tell. I think Summerall wasn't lying. Now we know he was kind of telling the truth in the sense of he's going to put the best guy out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good sign, but then it's also a bad sign because it's kind of like, who's the guy? Because if we don't know, because it's that old saying, if you've got more than one quarterback, you don't have a quarterback, or whatever that saying is. So they were saying that in the scrimmage, Philo, he hit a deep ball to Eric Singleton Jr. He threw a touchdown to Bailey Stockton. I like Bailey's. I drink Bailey's. But he threw an interception to Cormani McClain. That was on the internet. Cormani McClain get an interception. Hey, I don't know what I like more. Or what do I hate the fact that Philo threw an interception, or do I like the fact that Cormani McClain actually caught one? We don't know. Jones, on the other hand, he hit 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, but that was when he was doing this against the second team defense. So, you know, my thing has always been when you look at both of these quarterbacks, Philo is definitely going to be the one that's more consistent, more of a game manager. He understands the playbook. There's a little bit less. He doesn't improvise as much, which is what Faulkner wants. Faulkner wants someone who has control of the offense and get out there and execute and not see the play and then have to improvise. But on the other hand, if things are going really fast and they're saying our defense is supposed to be really good this year, even though our chomp model ranked them kind of low. Until we get some games and they actually start proving themselves, they'll move up. But uh, uh, if you're out there playing against our defense and things break down, and Jones is the best quarterback against things breaking down. To me, that's a good thing because at the end of the day, I think the coaches are saying it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because at the end of the day, our offensive line is not rated that high. So it's like, how much are you going to say, okay, offensive line, hold the line so that our quarterback can actually execute? You're telling them to do something that they're not capable of doing. And then if they're not capable of holding the line, then you need a quarterback who can then scramble around and throw it deep and find somebody open. So, and that looks like to be Jones, which is why they're playing him a little bit more in the scrimmages. So, a couple things. The defense is doing a lot better than what people would have thought, but maybe it's our offensive line isn't that good. Who really knows? But I think at the end of the day, what I'm gleaning, this is the takeaway. If our offensive line was top tier dominant, Philo would probably be the unquestioned starter because the offense is going to flow the way it's supposed to. Like you hand it off, boom, you run, play action, throw it, you got time. When the offensive line is letting guys run through like Woods and then you're going to get sacked instantly, now you got to put in Jones because he can like move around a little bit more. So that's sort of what I'm gleaning. Jones also has a little bit more of a explosive play down the field knack right now. So there's that. And so, the coaches are probably saying, well, Philo's in, we move it, but we don't hit the big play in the scrimmage. So I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I could see why they want to see what Trammell can do, but I still think Philo's probably going to start on FAU, and we'll go from there.
Philo's most likely going to start. I totally agree. I think it's a good sign that we're seeing Trammell start to get some reps with the ones. And you made a great point, EJ. I mean, if the offensive line, because I mean, I heard someone else talk. I can't remember who it was. Someone else talked about this. They're like, look, if I forgot what podcast I was listening to. They're like, if a quarterback does not know the playbook, but they're making these big plays, it doesn't matter if they don't know what motion to send the guy in. You know what I mean? If you're an offensive coordinator and he's making these big plays, like, okay, that's great. But what happens when that big play isn't there? You have to know where these receivers are when the play starts to break down. You have to know. You got to be. It's a dance. You know what I mean? It's a rhythm with these. With the other 10 players, on the field with you, wearing your colors. So yeah, you got to know the playbook. And from what it sounds like, is Trammell is getting more used to it. He's getting more comfortable with it. But and there's also the element, EJ, of what does it look like in game? Is it going to, is Trammell going to, he's making these strides now with the playbook, but does he just forget the playbook? And because the system is more in the bones and in the body of Aaron Philo because he's been in the system for 3 years, maybe that's an advantage when he gets in these high stress situations because it's so embedded in his brain and it's not some new thing. So, we don't really know until these players get under the lights in the swamp these first 2 weeks of the season. So it's going to be very, very interesting, EJ. You're going to see both quarterbacks get a lot of reps in these first two games, for sure. You're really not going to know who the real starter is go until maybe what I think they have to actually release the depth chart the Wednesday or Thursday, right before the SEC game on a Saturday.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Okay, so we'll know obviously around then, and we'll get a good feel for it on what's going on. I mean, I'm sure they can maybe flip it around. I don't know how that works. Maybe before they start playing. I don't know, but point is, like EJ said, they're looking for who runs the offense better. And even though we're playing against FAU and against the Campbell Soups, we still know we're going to see who is operating the offense at a very high efficient level. We're going to see. No matter what, we can play against a high school and be able to still see that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're going to know very, very quickly. Like I said, this is just all reports coming from practice, and we just got to see what happens when the actual lights turn on. Like I said, we don't really know everything that happened, EJ, for sure, because once again, the stuff is not officially released until tomorrow. But one thing that some of the rumors that came out alongside the one that Trammell was taking, reps with the ones, is the offensive line is actually looking really, really good. That's what we're hearing. Now, is it just the defensive line not as good as we think? What's going on with that? I don't know. But from what it sounds like is the offensive line is definitely taking strides. On top of that, we had a massive run from Evan Pryor. It's kind of wild, EJ. What this running back room can be. Duke Clark's out here dominating. London Montgomery's out here, hurdling dudes like they're nothing. And then, of course, we got Ball. It's a wild 4-man running back room that is going to be absolutely dirty. I can't wait from it. Also, some stats that came from the scrimmage. From what I've heard, Trammell threw 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Now, once again, to Cormani McClain, who's now had 2 interceptions in the past 2 scrimmages combined, which is probably a good sign there. Aaron Philo apparently had zero passing touchdowns with 1 rushing touchdown. So that's just kind of from what we've heard. Once again, nothing's confirmed. We'll see what it comes out tomorrow, if that's true or not. But just stuff that I've heard circling around the social media circles regarding the Florida Gators. So something to kind of keep an eye out for. So if those are true, that's pretty interesting, EJ. It's great for Kamani, obviously. And interesting that Philo had 1 rushing touchdown and not a passing touchdown. But
that's something we got to talk about, because who's the more mobile quarterback? Because I don't know if people have people's eyes have been open in college football the last 4 years, 5 years, but you got to have somebody that can run. Even Texas, our chomp model now puts them number 1 for some reason. And then I go back and look, and it's Arch Manning can run. And you never thought about it, but the guy freaking averages like 8 yards a carry or whatever it is, which is insane. So the computer thinks he's Michael Vick out there. And so it's like, okay, Philo, Jones, who's the more mobile? Like, which one? I would assume Philo is probably a little bit more of a straight line runner. Like, boom, hit the hole, run it right up the middle, get down.
I agree.
And then Trammell is more of a elusive in the backfield type of quarterback.
I agree.
Maybe he can run, but he's not like he's almost kind of like a DJ Lagway, but a little bit more smoother when he runs. Neither one of them are Anthony Richardson. Just putting that out there. But you don't really need to be an Anthony Richardson, right? You just, like Joe Burrow, he didn't get enough credit for how mobile he was. The guy who won the Heisman last year for Mendoza, that guy was very mobile when he needed to be. So it's kind of like you got to have that dimension at the quarterback position. So I'm not saying I know. I'm just saying we will see who the most mobile one is when we play FAU. And that to me is going to tell me a lot, because I'm going to say, okay, well, you can't play this guy if he's a sitting duck back there. You know what I mean? You got to have somebody that can run.
There was a big a clip that came out, which is kind of wild that a clip came out, but it did. And it was from this past scrimmage from last night, EJ, and it was Aaron Philo stepping up in the pocket, throwing it to a running back on a screen, where he just kind of, ran out of the pocket, and a defensive player laid him out. I don't know who the running back was, but they got destroyed. Ooh. And Aaron Philo did a good job stepping up into the pocket. So maybe that's that's a good sign there. Maybe he might be a little more elusive in the backfield than what we think.
Okay.
But yeah, just something to kind of think of. So we really don't know. We really don't know. Rob said, I heard the interception was after the whistle blew and really didn't count. We'll see, Rob. I'm very curious. I hope so. But no. So we'll see what happens to the quarterbacks. We're gonna come back every single week, guys. And maybe even I was talking with EJ, we might start doing little, videos throughout the week as well, just 5-10 minute reaction videos, just kind of talking about some things as we lead up to the Sunday live streams when the news does drop. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see what, Mr. John Summerall says in the press conference and go from there. So we shall see, EJ. Now, speaking of the quarterback situation, we can kind of talk about the offensive line. Like I said, from what it sounds like, is people are talking about, EJ, that the offensive line is actually pretty kind of figured out. Like you said, it's kind of that tackle spot that they're trying to, get situated. And the five that you kind of have over there, you got Emeka. I think that's a kid from Stanford, if I'm not mistaken. You got Egan Boyer, Caden Jones, Bryce Lovett, and then Fletcher Westphal as well, back from his injury from last season. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think, from what in my opinion, like, I know a lot of people are worried about the offensive line, but for me, it's like, look, we have one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. And on top of that, very, very, 4 stars everywhere on this offensive line. They're talented. They might not be super experienced, some of them. I know Emeka is. Bryce Lovett played a little bit as well last year, if I'm not mistaken, the year before. But still a lot of, inexperience on a consistent basis starting for a big program. But we'll see what happens. I believe in our coach for sure. I don't know if you have any opinions, EJ.
Yeah, so it's interesting when we were trying to do the chomp model for the preseason, or to tell us how good teams are going to be. The offensive line is the one unit where there really isn't a lot of historical statistics that are in the database to really grade, because the offensive line is really a unit. And so you have to go by individual player, which is why our rankings are kind of low. What do I mean? Well, each individual player can win their, you could have 4 guys win their block completely. But the offensive line is a unit. And if you have one of the 5 who misses a block, you're screwed. So you can have 4 incredible guys. But on that one play where the 1 out of the 5 forgets he's supposed to block the guy on the edge, the play doesn't work. So I think our offensive line numbers last year took a lot of that into account. We had some really high individual performers with the 3 that left, but the miscommunication and the breakdown would come from just one spot that was not on the same page with what they were supposed to be doing, or maybe they just weren't capable. I think Buster Faulkner, the reason I really like him is his entire offense is predicated on the offensive line playing as a unit, which is everyone knows their job. We all flow together. We all attack together. We all know things together. The last couple of years with Napier, it's like you never really got that feeling. You know what I mean? So I think the Buster Faulkner system is more team unit based, and it's going to lend itself to more explosive runs, run heavy. And as long as we're not fumbling the damn ball, which that's another thing, which quarterback's going to fumble it? I know Baugh is not going to fumble it, but Pryor, is he going to fumble it? Duke Clark, he fumbled it last year. So we can't fumble. But if we can power and run and get good, solid running yards, I'm telling you, this offense could open up because you got guys at the wide receiver position that when the defense now has to say, well, crap, we got to devote resources to the run, then you hit them with a little zag with VB3, you hit that pass, guess what? Uh-oh, now we got to move back, and guess what? Now they're running on us again. So I really like the Faulkner system, at least what we've seen them talk about, and then what we've seen his approach at Georgia Tech. And I think he really likes it because this is the most talented team. We're not ranked that high, but this is the most talented team he's ever coached from an offensive standpoint. So he's probably licking his chops. Now it's also the strength that, the toughest schedule he's ever played against too. Like your Georgia Tech, what's the toughest game you play when you're Georgia? Clemson?
Georgia at the end of the year, and that's it.
Oh yeah, really. Well, you play Georgia. Well, that's the thing. We play Georgia every year,
right?
So It's like, okay, we already play them every year, but then we also play 5 other teams that are in the top 10.
8 other SEC,
yeah. So that's why Georgia Tech can give them a run for their money because they didn't play anyone the whole year. So I think Faulkner loves the team. He loves the talent. We're going to be run heavy. And I think the offensive line playing more unit-based, blocking and not so dependent on one individual spot, which is why we have this whole 5 guys, 1 tackle conundrum. I don't even think that's going to matter. It's just going to be get out there, put a hat on somebody, knock their ass over, and run over them. And that's exactly what we need.
Also, I don't think people understand Buster Faulkner's offense. Yeah, there's a lot of, throwing down the field, and he's not scared to air it out. But you also got to realize it's going to be, like EJ said, a lot of running and a lot of screens to the outside. It'll be screen after screen, and people are going to be kind of pissed. I think people think, EJ, this guy's going to come in here and have an air raid offense. That's not what it's going to be.
Yeah.
You're going to see about, I would say, maybe 60% run, 65% run, and then the rest screens to the outside and that occasional deep ball. I think that's, and in these first few games, you're going to obviously see us push the ball down the field a little bit, experiment a little bit for sure. But I think I'm scared that people are going to have an expectation for Buster Faulkner, like it's going to be a Steve Spurrier type offense, where it's just not going to be that at all. We have one of the best running back backfields in the country, and why in the hell would you let that go to waste when your quarterback is, neither one is really great, right? They're good, but they're not great. Why put the pressure on him? Which is also a good thing, though, EJ, because now the offensive line doesn't have to be amazing. If you're doing screens to the outside, you're spreading the field out. That really allows for the offensive line to be able to communicate better, because now the linebacker has to go the hell out of out there. The linebacker's not going to be able to creep up as much anymore. The safety's got to do their thing. So there's less to communicate, and for that reason, I think it makes it a lot easier on our offensive line. So I think there's a lot of good things that are going to come out of the system, but it might be a little boring for some people. But you have so many weapons on the outside. You got Mays, you got Singleton, you got Wilson, Dallas Wilson, you got Bailey Stockton, all these guys on the outside. They could just toss that ball to real quick on screens and just let the playmakers do their thing. And I think that's one thing you're going to see about Buster Faulkner's offense is, it's going to be complex, but at the same time, it's going to be simplified enough to where he just wants to let the playmakers just do what they do. Let them let them outwork the other opponent. So that's what I think.
And I think to your point, when Florida fans are watching, or at least us, I don't know, you said it perfectly about everybody thinking this is going to be, I thought this guy was like the Ole Miss coach. No. When we're watching our team, the plays are going to make sense finally. Like when we were watching Napier, it was like, what the hell is he doing? What the hell is he doing? It's 3rd and 4th and 1, and he's running what was that play?
It was
like
a jet
last
sweep.
year?
It was a jet sweep on a 4th and inches or 4th and 1. It's like, why?
Right.
Why?
And then we got hog-tied, and we almost lost the damn game if it wasn't for the Moreau doing the interception but that was Mississippi State's fault. That wasn't even our fault. or a good thing from us. Anyway, you're not going to see that with Buster. You're going to see, oh, 4th and inches. Guess what? Gator heavy, power foot, knock them dead, run them over, get the first down. Easy. Everything's going to make sense. And you're going to get the internal sense with a Buster Faulkner offense. Like, this game is going exactly, it's going to go one or two ways. It's going to go, they can't stop us, or we're going to have a tough time in this game. With Napier, it was just always like, you're just hoping that a drive will materialize. You're like there was no strategy as to how the game is going to go on. With Faulkner, there's a strategy, like wear them out, pound them, and by the end of the game, we're running wild on these people. That's exactly how these games should go. There's about 6 games on our schedule where if we just bring the Georgia Tech style to those 6 games, at the worst, we're in those games. At the worst, we're in those games. Then you couple it with a defense that's ranked a lot better than what Georgia Tech brought to the table. We should win those games. So it really should come down to, we're winning 6 of our 12, and then the other 6 are teams ranked in like the top 12 of the nation. So it's like, okay, can we win 2 of those games of the 6? Can we win 2 of those 6 toss-up games? That's all we got to do. And then guess what? 8 wins. So I think we can do that.
This is going to be a year of heartbreak or greatness. Like, that's what it's going to be. There's going to be so many close games, EJ, like you said, and where, I mean, the Gators are going to be way closer in a lot of games than I think people are expecting. Question is, are they going to be able to win those coin flips consistently? And you hear these teams, that have, what team was it? It was like New Mexico State or something last year. And we're going to do our week 0 picks, and they have a game, so that's why I was doing the research on them. Last year, they had like 5 conference games. 4 or 5 conference games that were lost by like less than a touchdown. And it's like, you could be that team, or you can be, Virginia, I think is who it was, who won like 4 games in overtime last year and then made the run to the ACC championship. So you're going to be one of those teams. Which one do you want to be? We'll see what happens, man. Obviously, that's the MAC conference or whatever versus the ACC. The SEC is a different beast. Yep. But we'll see what happens, man. Definitely very, very interested to see what goes on there.
Me too.
Just injuries real quick, EJ. Running back Kevin Jimenez, contact injury. That's the only really bad, I'm knock on wood here, that's really come out of the camp so far. Kendall Gerville, who's a great defensive line guy that we brought in, EJ, great recruit, re-aggravated a high school injury. Not really practicing at the moment. Hopefully he'll come back though. Should be good there. It'll be great for a depth piece. And like I said, very talented young freshman. Managed, not really hurt. Dijon Johnson's pretty much all the way back. He's on a pitch count. He's good. Dallas Wilson, they're still being careful with him because, that's obviously a guy who he's literally he's probably worth like himself a point maybe. You know what I mean? Like, that dude, when he's in the game, he's just a monster. If he lives up to anything he did in the Texas game, even half of that dude is a must need.
Yeah. Like, can we just get the Texas game, Dallas Wilson every game? We'd be like unstoppable.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude, literally all we had to do in that game was just, and from what we've seen too in like the little practice clips that they've been posting and stuff online, that this dude's snagging every ball that they throw up, dude. Which is terrible because there's some of the throws aren't great, but it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna hope that was someone else. We're gonna hope that was Aiden Warner doing it. But the ball is super high, and Dallas is catching all of these dudes. So that dude, he's dangerous.
Well, every time I talk to one of my golf, well, he wasn't my golf coach, but he was one of the coaches at the thing. We would always talk because I would always have Gator stuff, and he's a Texas guy, and he would always tell me when I went there, how the hell did you guys lose 8 games? When you guys played us, it's like you had freaking Superman at wide receiver. So, like, from his perspective, it's like he doesn't understand why we lose games when we have Superman at wide receiver. And I was like, well, first of all, that was like literally the only game he played in. So there's that. And even in the games that he did come and play in, it was like we forgot that he was on the field and didn't throw him the ball.
And also
So
too, bro, like I gotta understand the swamp just has a certain kind of energy some days, bro, where it's just
yeah, right,
dangerous,
right,
you know.
exactly.
So yeah, that's what's going on with the injuries. Nothing crazy there. All right, let's dive into EJ to the SPI versus the AP, the SPI versus the AP versus the FPI. So we have our, and you know what, EJ, if you want to take this over, I'll let you take over this segment. This
Oh,
this is
okay.
slide 11.
Are we okay, let's see. Let me pull it up here
No,
so
you're
I
chilling.
can see what
We got
we're
8 people watching, by the way. Yeah. I mean, listen, if you guys have anything you want to say, comment down below, man. We're gonna respond to all the comments, good or bad, man. We're here for it. And also, while you guys looking this up, give this video a like, definitely helps out, and subscribe if you're new, baby.
yeah, we love that. All right. So everyone knows, we have built our own model. Okay. There's Chomp and then there's SPI. So Chomp is the actual math that goes into all of our statistics that we'll talk about. The SPI is like Swampcast Power Index. That's our power pole. Okay. So um what we did on this slide is we looked at, here's the AP top 25. Here's the FPI where all the teams have them on the FPI. And then where's the SPI have those teams? Our ranking. So our ranking basically uses statistics that really get better when the season actually starts. Because right now it's basing a lot of it on stats that, are on players that were on different teams from last year than the team that they're on now. So it, the preseason rankings right now are very, very volatile, even in ESPN, because they're banking that players who played on different teams on different strength of schedule are going to be, you know, adjusted for how they're going to play on their new team. So it's really funky right now. When the season actually starts, we'll get a really good view of it. But when we look at our rankings, so the SPI, our ranking has Texas number 1. The FPI and the AP as Ohio State number 1. And the interesting thing is Texas is number 2 in the FPI, ESPN's power ranking, but they're all the way down at number 5 in the AP poll. The FPI has Oregon number 4. Our poll has Oregon number 6. Our poll has Georgia number 7. The FPI has them number 5. The power rankings really like Notre Dame this year. And remember, a lot of it has to do with predicting how the season's going to play out. Notre Dame's strength of schedule is also, we got it on the Chomp board if we can pull it up, but it's not like as high as Florida's, right? So it's like if we had an easy strength of schedule, we'd probably, our over under wins would probably be 8 or 9 as opposed to 6 or 7, which is what it is right now. So long story short, there were a couple of teams on here that, let's talk about us real quick. So we are number 27 in the AP poll. We got the 27th most votes. ESPN has us ranked number 18. And our SPI has us ranked, our model has us ranked number 33. Now, why is there a difference between, 15 spots? It's basically the quarterback and the defense. So the defense, the SPI is saying, and we hope it's true, is saying that our defense, in terms of points allowed per play, that's one of the metrics we use in ours. Going off of last year's stats, we weren't really that great. The margin differential, we actually got outscored. Like teams average scoring more points than we actually scored. So when it comes to your defense, it's like your defense is supposed to hold teams. Your defense is supposed to be capable of helping you win games when all else fails. And that's basically how our defensive rankings are ranked. And last year, that wasn't the case. There are a few games, or about 3 games that really hurt us. Um, One of them was the Tennessee game, for example, where it said that the defense was directly responsible for why we lost that game, which is kind of true. I mean, it's a total team effort, but at the end of the day, they clobbered us. Um, but I really think that number 33 will be adjusted really, really quick if we come out, we perform against FAU. Campbell Soup, we won't get any ranks because they're FCS. But especially if we beat Auburn. Auburn is one of those teams that is like ranked right around where we are, relatively speaking. So if we can beat them, I feel really good about us being able to move up in the rankings, um, and in the polls. So, there you go. Now LSU is another team that our poll ranks kind of low. Hopefully no LSU fans are on here. But yeah, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, that's only the only one really in the top 20, I would say, that we really, really differentiate on. I mean, Alabama's another one that we have pretty low. But I think people would probably understand that one a little bit more. The rest are pretty, in tune. Houston's kind of another one that we have a little bit lower. But yeah, overall, a lot of them kind of in line, EJ. So not too bad there. Yeah, I agree. We'll see what happens. Those first 2 games, like you said, are really gonna make a difference there. This is kind of just a graph here talking about the biggest variance, the SPI versus the AP. Our model's really, really big on South Carolina compared to the AP, which is 31. The AP
Yeah.
has them at 31 though, so it's not horrible. I mean, it is 15 spots there on the difference, but nothing crazy. I think a big part of that is, they have, they got Sellers coming back, man. Sellers is obviously now going to be in a Kendall Briles system, right? So this is a big year for him. Nick Harbor's coming back. Got some weapons on the offensive side for him. And on top of that, EJ, they have, oh my God, what's his name? The edge defender that South Carolina has. That's one of the best edges in the country. Dude's an absolute beast, coming back with also some nice portal guys that they brought in defensively, EJ. So I actually kind of like South Carolina. I think that's what it's looking at is, hey, they have one of the best defensive ends in the country. And on top of that, really one of the best defensive players in the country. And on top of that, brought in some good portal pieces for him, EJ. So I think that's what our model's looking at, on top of a really talented quarterback that maybe could take a step forward in a brand new system that is pretty quarterback friendly.
Yep.
So, I mean, look what Josh Hoover did, you know what I mean, in the Kendall Briles system. And now he's, going to Indiana, playing for Signetti, hopefully for, big games there. So I like it for South Carolina. And when I first saw that, I was confused, but it makes a lot of sense. When you really take a look at everything. So, yeah, we will keep going on.
Yeah, and our metrics, they don't. Alabama is another one that I feel like is just getting points because they're Alabama.
Yep.
So they didn't
And they're
perform that well.
starting that freshman quarterback, right?
Starting freshman quarterback, so that doesn't help them in our model. So we'll see what happens. Minnesota, because they have the returning quarterback. I forgot the guy's name.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you're talking
Drake
about.
Lindsey. Drake Lindsey. So since he's returning, he was very, very productive last year. They got a lot of points. And LSU, they probably would have got a lot of more points too if their quarterback, who they're starting, had stats last year. Which, what's the guy's name?
Sam Levitt coming off of an injury. Yeah.
Oh, Sam Levitt. Yeah. So Levitt was hurt a little bit. He's really, really good. So I think he'll actually be really good for them. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so Washington, where was Washington ranked?
That's a great point.
Their
Washington.
team
So AP 17th. Our model has them at 18th. Let's
Oh,
go.
okay.
So right there
Okay,
with it,
okay.
ESPN has them
Yeah.
at 26. So I think that's a really good place for Washington because, yeah, I think Washington's I listen, I love Fish. I think he's a great head coach. You know that I was actually kind of wanting him to come to Florida. I think he's got a lot of great stuff going on there. He's not an instant impact guy, but he's definitely a rebuild guy. And I think this year, with God, is it Desmond? Desmond, what's his last name? A guy who I was really big on last year as a true freshman, or the year before as a true freshman, turned out to be a really, really big time quarterback. Remember the whole thing with Lane Kiffin wanting to bring him to LSU, but he was
Yeah.
already with the
Yeah.
contract. It was a whole thing. This guy, I think it's Washington. I can't remember his last name, but he's phenomenal. Obviously coming back, some really good weapons on there offensively for him. And they were just a team that was kind of a rebuild year last year, taking a big step forward here. EJ, I think Washington can be a dirty, dirty team, man. So keep an eye out for the Huskies. I love that ranking that we have for them at 18.
Yeah, our model really likes them. So, we'll see what happens.
Hell yeah. I love it. I love it. All right. The SP top 10, we kind of just talked about that before, but these are just kind of the stats laid out for you guys offensively. You know what I mean? You can see everything there. Defensively, the lower the number, obviously the better. That's why Texas is up there at number 1, and then the schedule here, which is the the scheduling, strength of schedule there for you guys. Then the AP ranking versus the FPI ranking. So yeah, like I said, we kind of dove into it. EJ, I don't know if you have anything else you want to say on that.
Nah, it's preseason is kind of for the birds. It's for the fans, really. It will be interesting to see how things play out this season. Can Indiana go back to back? Is Oregon finally going to win a big game and do something? Or are they going to continue to get clobbered when it matters? And our model is like in Texas. Like, is Texas going to actually break through? I don't know. We got to play them. Why the hell do we play Texas all the time?
Yeah, it's annoying. It's terrible. I want to play the other UT. But yeah, I don't know. It's it's also harder than ever, EJ, to predict preseason, because at least back then you went, okay, these are the players coming back. We saw them last year. They were in the same exact uniforms. Yeah. This year, you got teams like Virginia or some of these other teams that are just portal giants, bringing all these new guys. And so, number one, that makes the research absolute hell, because you got to see where the hell everyone's going, because there's over like 4,000 players in the FBS that put their name into the portal, which is ridiculous. And so we're it's brutal. Neo said, Florida fan here, we still gonna suck. Understandable, brother. Understandable. But no, yeah, I don't know. It's tougher than ever, and so you don't really know how a lot of these teams are going to do. But because that, EJ, the teams that are really good at retaining talent, like USC, bringing back 16 starters, the most in the country, or 15 or 16, I think something around there, and that had the number 1 recruiting class in the country this past cycle, the teams that are able to kind of bring guys back and retain, I think are even higher for me, right? Because there's a higher floor for that. Like, USC's not going to go under 8 wins this year. There's no way. I don't think they're going to go over 9 wins, or sorry, under 9 wins. I think they're going to be sitting around that 10 win area there, because of the retention. Now, the ceiling, obviously, you might have a really big splash transfer portal class and a whole new team like Signetti has in the past, or Virginia did last year, right? Bringing on all these new guys, or that Lane Kiffin might have this year at LSU. But you also have the risk. So it's like you might have a higher ceiling, but you have a lower floor, rather than teams like USC where you have a higher floor, but maybe not as high of a ceiling. I don't know. It's pretty interesting, EJ. Very curious. And we're still so new to this transfer portal thing. I mean, it's an absolute joke. We've already talked about that in the past, but we're still very new in it in college football. So it's not a lot of data points to really take from it. And so, I'm sure there's some point, some data points out there that there's correlations that you can find and maybe predict a little bit, but it's still so new in this new transfer portal era where it's kind of hard to dictate how a team's going to be. So
yeah,
not the greatest, but it is what it is. That's new college football. What we just talked about, Chomp has Florida at 33. They look at the strength of schedule plus the defense here ranked at 39th. And so, all those things are taken into account. What goes into the SPI and the Chomp, EJ? We'll just hit this just a little quick. And if you have anything to say, EJ, you can cut me off, let me know. It's what happened, the end of the last 3 seasons, not just your record. The defense coming back. We talked about how important the defense is. Offense coming back. Who's coming back there? And the roster that you built based on the last year's composite plus the net portal, the class, all those things together. So that's kind of what goes into those things.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, and I'll just say that we picked a lot of these metrics that go into each of these four buckets, um, based on their relationship with predicting team success. So the number one is your prior season anchor. So if you were really good last year and you return a lot of that returning production, that's a more solid predictor of your success this upcoming year, um, than anything. Our model also says that offense is much more of a predictor of a winner than defense nowadays. It used to be, you know, like Logan, you said, like it's not 2009 anymore, where Alabama's defense was just stopping everybody. It's all about your production on offense. Nowadays, that's the teams that can produce more on offense are going to win more games. Your defense is factored in there, but it's not weighted as highly. And the talent, um, and actually, Logan and I were talking about this. Talent used to be a huge factor. It still is, but it's taking into consideration your composite of your talent, your portal class, and your freshman class. Um, the challenge is Indiana. There's two things that hurt your composite. Indiana was like not even in the top 30 of talent, and they were beating people by 30 points a game. Like it messed up our model, that the Indiana Alabama game. That screwed our model. It like inverted the metrics because you had like the number one most talented team in the country not even being able to score a touchdown against like the number 38 most talented team in the country, or whatever Indiana was ranked. So it like inverted the talent composite. Then you also have teams like us, unfortunately, Florida, who we have a top 12, top 10 talent composite the last 4 or 5 years, but can't win more than 4 games. Now, a lot of that's our strength of schedule, but still, it's like, how are you the 12th most talented team in the nation out of 138 teams and you can't win more than 4 games? so,
Yep.
so the talent is a little bit less of a factor nowadays than what it used to be, because remember when it was the Nick Saban glory years of 10, 11, 12, talent was like 80% of whether or not you're going to win, because they could just trot out these number one ranked classes and rosters and clobber everyone. Now, number one, there's more balance because of the transfer portal.
Yep.
Okay. Recruiting rankings are not as important as they used to be. And you don't return a lot of that talent year to year because of attrition. And you got teams like Indiana beating the brakes off of people that are way more talented than you. So so it's getting to be more kind of like the NFL. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Brian's
I don't know.
funny as hell. He said Indiana was lightning in a bottle. They won't win shit ever again. That's funny as hell. What's up, Brian? Welcome back, brother. Yeah, no, I agree with you, EJ. 100% back everything you just said. And then now we got the preseason methodology here. Basically, once again, preseason, it's all assumptions, it's all guesses, it's all, a little bit of bias sprinkled in. We talked about that, right? So obviously, you can't just go full bias, go full emotion. You got to have some kind of stats to pull from, and a lot of that comes from, the previous few seasons. So obviously, right now, wait on the preseason estimates, talking about the game results, what happened in the games, the stats, all those things from the players that were at their previous places or at the University of Florida. Takes all that into account. That's 100% obviously of the games. After one game, it's half estimate, half real football from this current season, so it's 50%. And after two games, the estimates are gone and the real games run it. Now you're probably asking, oh damn, well what that doesn't make any sense. What about the teams like us that are playing? I say shitty, but FAU is a they're a D1 program. But you're playing at schools like FAU or the Campbell Soup. That's not fair for teams like LSU that has to play Clemson, or Clemson has to play LSU week 1. It takes into account the team that they're playing based off the power ranking, based on the scheduling, all those things. So it says it right there.
And I can tell you how that works. So how our model, well, not just our model, but any of these models. So if you play FAU and you're supposed to beat them by 14 points, and you beat them by 14 points, differential, not spread, which we can talk about, then that helps you in your rankings, even though you didn't play a highly ranked team. Now, if you played a highly ranked team and the spread is like 3 and you won by 20, it's gonna really give you a lot of credit for doing that. So that's basically how it works. So if you play a weak strength of schedule, like Notre Dame, okay, Notre Dame is still going to be ranked high if they're beating all the teams that is on their schedule by a certain amount of points. So you can't. So if Notre Dame wins every game by 20 and they were only favored by 15, they're still going to be a top 2 ranked team in the country. Even though we're going to say, well, they didn't play anyone. Yeah, they clobbered everyone. That is why Cignetti is so smart, because he knows things like talent, strength of schedule played into Indiana's ranking. And so what did he do? He said, I don't care what the score is. We're going to beat you 59-0. So that's why they got so many points. So that's the thing. Beat the teams by how many points you're supposed to beat them by, and your strength of schedule won't affect you as much. Or beat teams that you're not supposed to beat and you get more points.
Right.
How about that?
Exactly. So there's a lot of elements to it. It's not like we're just going off the first two games and not putting anything into account. The model is taking all that into account. So we'll see what happens. Very excited to see how this goes. EJ, are you ready for week 0 picks, baby?
Oh,
the first picks of the season. Are you ready?
I'm not ready. How the hell is it already? Jeez.
He's like, I ain't ready. Look, I want y'all to make these picks alongside us. Everyone watching right now, whether you're watching live or you're watching after the fact, make these picks with us, baby. It's going to be a fun time. We have, I think these are 6. Yeah, we got 6 games here for week 0. Obviously not any big, massive matchups, but a few big ones here. We already have an ACC matchup week 0, EJ, which is ridiculous. That's crazy.
Wait, does that count as an ACC game? Because sometimes when they play these games, they don't count as conference games.
Are you serious?
Did you know that? Yeah, I feel like Virginia played a game last year, but it didn't count as a conference game. It was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen.
That's bullshit in my opinion. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. All right, well, I mean, we'll see. I guess I don't know. I didn't know anything about that. That's kind of wild. Neo made a great point. So that's what Florida needs to bring back that killer instinct on offense, beat everyone by 100-0. Yeah, I totally agree. That's something we've definitely talked about in the past. 100%.
Okay, yeah. So the game NC State versus Virginia, September 26, 2025, did not count toward the conference standings because the ACC expanded conference footprint, the regular season rotation meant these two historic regional rivals were not scheduled to play each other very often, and to preserve the annual rivalry, Virginia and NC State, they mutually agreed to separate and still play each other, but it would not count as it would count as a non-conference game. Oh, so it'd be kind of if Texas and Texas A&M in the SEC, because they're a big rivalry, we're not permanent rivals according to the SEC. But both teams are but we still want to play because it's a rivalry. You could still play, it just won't count as a conference game. So that's basically what they're saying.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying? So the SEC,
so they can play consistently.
Right. So it's like if we decided, well, we play LSU every year. It used to be a annual rival. Well, if we go and get to Lane Kiffin and say, "Hey, Lane Kiffin, we want to play LSU because it's a rivalry," and the SEC would say you could do that, it just wouldn't be a conference game. But then we'd get screwed because why the hell would we want to play LSU and then 9 other SEC teams?
Dude, you're playing 10 SEC. That's what I'm saying. I mean, dude,
Yeah.
respect to NC State and Virginia for that, dude. Holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's
Wow.
why that's interesting. So that's why they it didn't count last year.
You know, I hated that at first, but the balls on those teams for doing that. That is wild. Good for them, man. Hell yeah. That actually makes me happy. Maybe college football is not dead. All right. Well, let's go ahead and start going through these picks, DJ. We're going to start with, and by the way, before we get into it, obviously on your screen, you can see a lot of different stats, and you're going to see this every single week. It's going to be the same kind of layout here. Just I'm just going to go through it real quick. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. The SPI rankings, this is where obviously our power rankings have them. The left is the left team, except for obviously USC and San Jose State. For some reason, this is flipped, but it's supposed to be, USC 12, San Jose State 133. All the rest are accurate. As you go down, it's where they're ranked. Then you got the chomp margin. This is where obviously it's not an actual spread. It's just the actual margin, 100% stats, nothing else, obviously integrated in it, EJ. But it talks about, what the team should be winning by exactly based on the 10,000 runs that we do of the game. And then you got the actual spread from the chomp spread and then the Vegas line. Now, we're going to be going through and doing our picks, CJ, based on the actual Vegas line itself. And then the chomp spread will have a record as well. So every single year, I don't know how long you guys been following us. Me and EJ do usually, I think it's 10 games a week. If there's more games that we want to pick a week, then we'll add more games just for fun. But usually it's about 10 games a week. We just don't have a lot of great games because it's week 0. But we go through, we pick the spreads, and then we see how, we talk about the record that we have each and every week. Chomp, our, model that we have is also going to be having a record throughout the year. So we're going to be able to compare ourselves to the actual chomp spread as well, EJ, which is going to be really, really fun. The way that is based off of is obviously just based on their spread compared to the Vegas line, and that'll tell you something. So, for example, if it goes under 7.5, the chomp will be right because the spread for them is 6, and, vice versa. So you guys kind of get the vibe there. EJ, anything else you want to mention before we dive into these picks, baby?
Woo! Well, yeah, just know that the spread and the Vegas line is going to be different because Vegas is based on money, so they give you a number. They want people betting on both teams so they don't lose money. So that's what the Vegas line is. But they probably also have a differential like we have, which tells you who the actual winner is going to be, right? So that's the difference between the spread and the, because if they said, because our margin against FAU is only 14 points. But if they gave us that margin, everyone's going to bet Florida. So they make it 27 or whatever it is so that people will bet evenly on Florida to win and for FAU to not cover this. Even though everyone thinks Florida's going to win, you don't want everyone to bet that way. You want people to bet that they're not going to cover the spread. So we're going to think about that. But for right now, our model is differential. And then we're going to use the Vegas spread because that's what everyone looks at. And we're going to do our pick on that.
100%.
So there you go. Ireland. We're going to Dublin, Ireland.
Yes, sir. Yeah, gonna be great, man. They've been doing these Ireland games every single year. Fun fact, the team that loses this game has one of the worst seasons of all time every single year. So it's true. Look at how happened with Florida State. Look what happened. I think I forgot what other team lost last year. Was it Kansas State versus someone? I can't remember what it was. Either way, they did absolute shit. So you don't want to lose this game. You got North Carolina versus TCU, EJ. TCU is favored by 7.5, which is pretty fascinating. All right, you got Bill Belichick coming back. Look, the UNC defense should be good. He has his son running the defense once again. Now, what's really, really interesting, EJ, is the fact that UNC, they brought in offensive coordinator Bobby Petrino. which is wild.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's
Okay,
coming
with
in
the
town.
motorcycle chicks.
Yeah, you know what's up. Bringing in Billy Edwards Jr. as the quarterback. And look, I mean, they actually have a pretty good running back and wide receiver to rely on as well, EJ. So, you know, UNC, I think, is going to take a step forward. I mean, the expectation is not too high, but, you know, obviously coming off the 4-8 season. And then you got TCU losing their offensive coordinator, Kendall Briles, to South Carolina, but they're bringing in Harvard quarterback Jaden Craig. So we'll see what happens there. Good running back on their side. I want to pick TCU here, but I think TCU wins by a touchdown, not 7.5. Give me UNC to cover here, EJ, over in Dublin, Ireland. I think they still lose, but I do think UNC is going to be able to cover that 7.5.
Okay. Well, listen, I have a joke about Dublin, Ireland, but I don't want to say it because we're live on air. I'll tell it to you when we're another time.
Swampcast is canceled.
Yeah, Swampcast unedited. All right, Swampcast unedited. You gotta subscribe for that, guys.
$19.99 a month.
Yeah. Anyway, UNC, they got a quarterback transfer named Billy the Kid Edwards that they thrown in there. At least they named a starting quarterback. Because they did get a Texas A&M guy, O'Neal.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, TCU, I like their guy. Wait, what's the guy's name? I should have wrote it down.
That TCU brought in?
Yeah.
Because TCU lost Josh Hoover. They lost him to Indiana. And so then they brought in Harvard quarterback Jaden Craig. So
all right.
He's played a lot of football.
Okay, look, I love J. Edgar Hoover. He was great. But I like this TCU team. Let me tell you something. I think TCU is going to clobber them. Okay? I think it's going to be ugly. UNC's in shambles. Okay? The Horny Toads. Big in Dublin. Wow. They're going to be drinking Irish whiskey. They don't drink beer. They drink Irish whiskey in the stadium. Okay? That's how hardcore these people are.
First game, and we're already on the odds, EJ. Already, baby. Already. All right, let's see what happens. I mean, listen, the chomp spread's going with me, so I'm dying by the hill of the chomp spread. All right, next thing we have is San Jose State at USC. EJ, I'll let you pick this one first.
You know, listen, San Jose, USC, San Jose, it's like a California Katy Perry, okay? She's going to be singing at halftime probably of this game. Wait, we probably got to pick the spread on this one.
Yep.
I'm going to go USC. Here's the interesting thing. San Jose State is a sneaky good little team. Mm-hmm. Okay, because I went to the Hawaii Bowl a couple years ago when my nephew was playing for USF. And San Jose State, the game went into like 5 overtimes. We had a great time. We had, a luau, so we were chilling. San Jose State has a pretty good little team, okay? But I really like this Jaden Mavia quarterback that USC's got. I think they're gonna beat them bad. Are they gonna beat them by 39? I don't think they're going to beat them by 39. But here's the thing. You got to coaches like the USC coach Lincoln Riley. He likes running up the score because he knows that those analytics help your rankings. So, you know what? Give me USC to run it up on them. Okay? I'm going to say 40. Damn. So if they win 45-7, that's 38.
Damn. So you don't cover.
Give me San Jose. Sorry, guys. San Jose. USC is going to beat them by 38, but not 38.5. Okay?
That's such a high number. I mean, San Jose State, Brian Fisher did say it right. They did lose a lot of people. Their offensive play has been really fun these past few years, EJ. And with how rough the USC defense has obviously been under Lincoln Riley, wherever he's been, the Lincoln Riley never has a defense. They did bring in the new guy. It should get a little bit better this year. They're one of the most talented teams in the country. But give me San Jose State to definitely cover 38.5. it's just too high for me. I think that the USC defense is going to let up a little too many points. But I can see USC scoring a lot of points in this game. Maeva, obviously another year in the system now. Dude's going to be a dangerous quarterback.
This is definitely one of those games where it's going to be like 42-0, and then we're going to be like, oh crap, and then they're going to put in the Make-A-Wish kids in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And then San Jose will get like a touchdown, and the spread will be what we thought. So that's how this game's probably going to go.
Yeah, probably. All right, next one we have is North Carolina State at Virginia, not an ACC conference game, I guess. Chomp spread has it at 0.5, literally a pick 'em, obviously with the 0.01 on the margin, which is ridiculous out of 10,000 runs, with the Vegas line being UVA at favored by 5.5 EJ, which is really, really interesting. So a difference here in the Chomp spread versus the Vegas line. I mean, look, North Carolina State, CJ Bailey coming back. Don't know how the hell they kept him, but they did. Really good quarterback. Love what he's able to do on the backfield. Problem is he's lost a lot of weapons around him. You know, the defense, obviously North Carolina State, their defense has taken a big drop recently, but they're returning a lot of guys on the defense. And for that reason, I like what their secondary is going to have this year. I think that's going to give them a lot of big benefit. UVA, every single year is doing this. Hey, let's bring in an entire new transfer portal class to just fill up the entire roster. Worked for him last year with Chandler Morris. Is it going to work this year with Bo Prabula? I don't really know. I don't love leaning into UVA. Give me North Carolina State to cover here. Maybe win the game, but definitely cover the 5.5, I think.
Okay, so you're going for who's going to win the game?
I'll go North Carolina State, but I don't know. I don't feel that that's a scary one. I'm going off spread. I'm going North Carolina State to cover. I don't know about who's gonna win. I have no clue. It's too damn close.
Yeah, this is basically our model. Basically says this game's going to end in a tie, basically, which is what it's saying. Which means it's going to be a blowout, you know. So here's the deal. I think if Virginia's defense can, hold that line, I think they got a little bit of chance in this game. Now, all the models like NC State to be like this higher ranked team, but people are picking Virginia. So, and the reason is they're getting like 2 or 3 points because they're playing at home. So listen, I'm going to go with the home team here, guys. I'm going to go Virginia. They're orange and blue. I mean, that's pretty much why I'm picking them. They're orange and blue. And are they going to win by 5? Yeah, why not? They're going to win by 5 or 6. So, Virginia.
I respect it. It's at UVA. That should probably be enough to push me to that. But NC State's my favorite ACC school. I've said that for a long time. I love them. I don't know. I've always been a Wolfpack guy. So there you go. That is going to be the first 3. Now, next one we have, EJ, Hawaii at Stanford. It's going to be interesting. Let's hear your picks here, EJ.
So here's the deal. I like Hawaii. Has anybody gone to Hawaii? I went to Hawaii last year. Here's the deal. When I went to Hawaii, people were like, "Oh, what island did you go to?" I was like, "Hawaii." Right? And they're like, "No, fool. There's different islands." So I was like, "Oh shit." So Hawaii is usually a pretty good little team, but they're playing at Stanford. I'm gonna go Stanford in this game to cover. Are we picking 5.5? Is our model saying 5.5?
Our model is saying 14.5 for Stanford. The actual Vegas line is 5.5 for Stanford.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going Listen, guys, our model. We don't know if it's that good until the season starts.
It might be shit.
We worked on it, so I'm gonna go with it. Stanford, easy cover.
God, dude, I hate that our model is such in favor of Stanford because Stanford's been so bad so bad. And I love that Hawaii quarterback, Michael Alado, whatever his name is. Dude's a beast. They somehow kept him. Hawaii lost a lot of talent. And so that is a problem. Their defense is definitely kind of the key for them. Stanford's just so bad, dude. I'm going against the model here. Give me Hawaii to upright beat Stanford at Stanford.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. The Fighting Rainbow Warriors. Yeah, it ain't gonna be. You need water. You need rain to have a rainbow. Okay,
Yeah,
they're playing in California. It doesn't rain over here.
yeah, that's oh man. I hope I'm wrong, honestly, for the sake of for the sake of the model. Next one we have is New Mexico State at Florida State. Florida State is favored by 31.5. EJ. I mean, look, Florida State had a pretty good portal class come in. Brought in Ashton Daniels, the quarterback, very mobile quarterback. Can't really throw the ball, but he can run pretty well. Took over for Auburn, and played decent. They have some good running back additions too, EJ. I think the running back room is actually really, really solid. Bringing in one of the guys, Wisner from Texas. Both the guys can catch out of the backfield as well. But it's also Florida State. So their whole offensive line was basically transferred in. That's always a scary thing to do when you don't really have a lot of retention in that position group. And New Mexico State, this is the team that I told you when they lost 4 conference games by 1 score. So even though the record was shit, they almost won a couple of them, and they would be probably projected to be a lot better, than what they are right now, which is 109th in the country, EJ. Look, They have some pieces at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. I think the defense will also improve a little bit. But Florida State started really, really strong last season. I think Mike Norvell's going to have these guys ready to go. I think they win by 31, but not 31.5. Go and give me New Mexico State to cover here.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, here's the deal. Fun fact about this game. I grew up in Tallahassee and I've never been to New Mexico. So if that helps at all, when it comes to predictions, I think FSU is going to clobber them. They spent all off season. You're trash, you're terrible, you're awful. It was all true, by the way. And so they're going to come out, they got the Auburn transfer, because, Auburn got a whole new coach. So Ashton Daniels went over to FSU. I think he's going to run all over them. I think FSU's defense is going to clobber them. So I'm going to go FSU to cover. Easy. Why the hell are you playing New Mexico State on week 0? That's why aren't you playing Alabama or somebody? Wait, does that FSU play Alabama this year?
They do.
Oh, maybe that's why, because they need a warm up before
they're about to get clapped. Okay, we got to give them some kind of slack here, EJ. Damn.
Well, they beat Alabama last year.
Yeah, that's true.
And we were like, oh crap, FSU's going to be good. I have no idea how that game happened. They don't have Mizell or what's the Malzahn?
Yeah.
So they're going to beat them. They're going to clobber them. No one's going to watch this game except the FSU fans. Nobody's ever been to New Mexico. FSU big.
Respect. You're wrong, but respect, EJ. Memphis at UNLV. This is a big game for Dan Mullen, man. It's big game starting out. Curious to see how Memphis plays, though. Obviously losing Silverfield to Arkansas. So Memphis is kind of in a rebuild, but they brought in Charles Huff. That's that guy that got fired from Marshall for really no reason, which is kind of weird. Then he went to Southern Miss, got them to a bowl first season, and now he's here at Memphis. I think this is he pretty much brought over his entire team from Southern Miss as well. I can see Memphis being a nice 7-win team, nice 8-win team maybe on the upper side of things. UNLV, Jackson Arnold's going to be the quarterback for him because they lost their one guy to Nebraska, I believe. They had a quarterback. Defense was absolute ass. We'll see if they improve a little bit. They brought in a guy to help out the defense a little bit, EJ. The thing is, will they win by 6? I'm gonna say yes. It's at UNLV. Give me UNLV to cover 6 points. I think UNLV wins this.
Yeah, people are saying, who was the guy on Barstool Sports who went on live and said, Florida, you should be ashamed of yourself for firing Dan Mullen. What happened ever since you fired him? You've been trash. And I'm just like, well, we don't have a time machine. We can't go back in time, people. But I do like that he brought in Jackson Arnold at UNLV. That's a smart move. And I think because of that, UNLV is going to be tough to handle for Memphis. And Memphis, got a new coach. You kind of figuring it out. UNLV wins the game by the 7 points, but it's going to be a really fun game. And anytime you're in Las Vegas, even though UNLV is a little bit off the beaten path there, it's going to be a super fun game. UNLV by 7.
I agree. I think it's gonna be a very close game as well. But I think UNLV does take it there late. All right, so there we go. Those were our picks, EJ. We were opposite on 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 6. We were opposite on.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
It's gonna get nasty. It's gonna get crazy. I'm scared of the Stanford one. I don't like that the model's so high on Stanford. That's kind of wild. So yeah, we'll see what happens, baby. I'm excited. It's gonna be a good time. Like I said, we'll come back next week, of course. We'll make the week 1 picks. So excited for that. We'll review these week 0 picks. We'll see what happened. Who was right, who was wrong. The model might go 6-0. Probably not, but we'll see what happens. It'll definitely be interesting, EJ. All right, let's keep it going here. Chomp versus the Vegas line.
We already talked about that.
Yeah, we already kind of dove into that a little bit. Basketball. All right, EJ, take over this segment. What's going on here with this eligibility?
All right, guys, basketball. We love our basketball team, Gators #1 and all that. What the hell are we doing, Judge from Colorado? You're smoking? Probably, because it's legal. So here's the deal. There was a court that ruled that all the class of 2022 were eligible for 5 years. Why? Well, think about it. Everyone who was class of 2023 and beyond, well, actually, the NCAA ruling, when they gave everyone the 5 years, it didn't even specify a class. It just specified from this day on, and it gave you ages and and a 5-year period. It didn't mention anything about the people in the past. So then the classes of 2019 and classes of 2020, the NCAA granted a COVID year. So they all got an extra year. The class of 23 and beyond all can play for 5 years. So who gets screwed? 21 and 22. Now, 21 definitely gets screwed because they didn't get a COVID year and they don't get to play 5 years like everybody else. 2022, we thought we're also not going to get screwed by this 5-year thing because the judge ruled that on July 31st, that they would, that the 5 years would apply to them. So if they played 4 years, they would be granted a 5th year. And we all thought, okay, that's fair. That's reasonable. Like, everyone beyond that had COVID years and all that kind of stuff, except for 21, they got screwed. But then this new judge on August 21st?
Yeah.
Well, whatever it was.
Yeah, you got he was eligible on July 31st, and then it holds on August 10th. That's when the same judge refused to pause her own order while the NCAA appeals it.
Okay, so it got paused, and then on the 21st, on Friday, we got a new ruling from somebody who was cracked out. Hate to say it, but then they said, no, the NCAA appeal went through. So what does that mean? If you're in 2022 class, you don't get the 5th year. Now, how the hell does that make any sense, people? Like, it doesn't make any sense because first of all, why are you giving everyone in 23 and beyond 5 years, but you don't want to give the people in 2022 who all had to sign up to actually get a 5th year, You don't want to give them a 5th year. It doesn't make any sense. So now how it stands today is those are now individual case by case situations. So now instead of a blanket ruling saying all these people are eligible, now the players have to go one by one. I think that they're still gonna try to, escalate it, but now it's a case by case thing. So now it's back to, well, can Aberdeen get a waiver? Here's the thing. You had guys from the COVID era playing 6, 7 years, 6, 7, whatever, how many years they were playing. You have Aberdeen who played 3 full seasons, and 1 season he played a total of 47 minutes because that first freshman year he would come in like the last minute of the game, 2 minutes of the game, just mop up duty. But he can't even play a 5th year. But you got guys like Chad Baker Mazzara, who played at Auburn. Then he went to go play for USC, and he's been in college. He's like 30 years old. And Aberdeen's like 22. But they're saying he can't play. It's a ridiculous, these people, I'm telling you. And then here's the other crazy thing. We put in a waiver like 3 months ago, 4 months ago for him to play. And it's like, go online, check the waiver. Oh, no response. How long does it take for you to look at a freaking waiver, people? Can't you just put it in AI and AI says, yeah, he's approved, not approved? At least we get an answer. So the other issue is that the NCAA is a complete joke because you have teams with a full roster that now players are going to get kicked off because they thought they were going to play. And then you have teams without a roster, without players, because they didn't know that certain rules applied, certain rules didn't apply because the rules keep changing. So all in all, I'm about 75, 80% confident that Aberdeen will play because I just don't see the case for the NCAA to grant all the players that they've granted 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and then not having something apply to him to where he can play this 5th year. So hopefully he can play. I think he's a very important player for this team, especially if we have aspirations to win the championship. I think he's a very solid defensive player. He's a fearless offensive player.
And when he hits a three, we're automatically going to win.
And when he makes a 3, we're 26-0. Okay, check the record. And he's got great camaraderie with, he's best friends with the whole team, and he's got a dog. So, we got to ask, what's going on with Spur Baby, is he still causing a ruckus down there in Orlando? He probably is.
I've heard stories.
Yeah. So all in all, hopefully he gets to be eligible. Currently he's not eligible, but Todd Golden's going to fight it, and hopefully he's going to be able to play. NCAA, what the heck is wrong with? No wonder people are going to the courts because you people don't make rules that are fair across the board. So that's my rant on that.
We need a college football commissioner. We need a college basketball commissioner for sure. Because, yeah, the NCAA doesn't know what they're doing. It's a joke. We can get into the structure and how that is. It's bad, but I mean, we've already got out our rants and everything. Neo said, "What if Lee comes back?" Why would you say that? Unbelievable.
Oh, well,
he is in the portal.
He went to the portal, and so he's now subject to the Aberdeen rule too. Because when the first judge made the ruling, players like Hanlockton, remember he was a senior. Xavier Lee, remember 4-year senior, they were going to get a 5th year. And so they were going to be able to transfer. And then they were going to be able to go to another team, because our roster was full. Now the idiot in Colorado who was smoking weed all the night before the ruling, hey, maybe it was good stuff. I mean, I'm not faulting anyone who's smoking out there, but you shouldn't do it when you're a judge making a very important ruling. Okay. He said, well, no, they're not eligible anymore. So now you're in the transfer portal trying to go on to another team, and now they're being told you're not eligible. And so now the coach on the team that thinks that you're going to be playing for him is like, well, what the hell? Why am I wasting my time with you when I need to be focused on a person that can actually play?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's a mess. So anyway, I'd rather have somebody than nobody. So,
Yeah,
if Aberdeen can't play, the roster spot is empty. And I'd rather have Lee than nobody.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So, hell, judges, what are you guys doing? Go to the Supreme Court. Should we go to the Supreme Court? Sometimes they're a little flaky too, but you never know.
Yeah, it's a joke. I hope we get it figured out. Like EJ said, we should be fine, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then right here, I mean, everything EJ just said. Todd Golden even said, he was like, yeah, he's like, look, dude, it's not a 27-year-old trying to play his 8th year at a 6th school. It's a 22-year-old within his 5-year clock coming back to get his degree. So yeah, I mean, that's everything we just mentioned there. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's stream. EJ, it was a great one. It was a fun one. It's the last one before hell breaks loose, bro. I'm so excited. College football season is almost officially here. Next week is the first real week of college football talking about the new season, baby. We're going to be reacting to week 0. We're making our week 1 picks. We're going to be breaking down the Florida versus FAU game down to all of the beautiful details, man. So excited. We're also going to be able to talk about just what we think is going to happen this season. So many great things to dive into, bro. And then we have data on FSU, data on all these other schools. It's gonna be amazing. I'm so hyped. EJ, anything else you want to tell everyone out there?
We love you guys. Football season is back, baby.
Yes, sir.
I cannot wait to see even if we're not good enough to win, I just want to see competent football. Like, run it straight ahead on 4th and inches, okay? And don't throw 5 interceptions in a row and still trot out the same guy. And don't have 3 players with the same jersey number on a crucial punt that you need to get the, field position. Okay? And then don't have Jaden Ball returning kicks when you need him. So, things like that are just basic, like, I'm 12 years old and I understand football even though I'm 12. Things like that.
Totally.
And I'm happy that we're going to have that with Sumrall and Faulkner. People are loving these guys. And Scott, our defensive coordinator, too. He's really good, too. So let's see what happens.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Mr. Brad White. Yeah, no.
Brad White. Sorry.
No, you're good. It's gonna be great, man. We're listen. This is our therapy. So everyone watching right now, we're gonna come back every single Sunday after the games on Saturday. We're gonna cry. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna have a great time. Hopefully, we're laughing a lot more than we're sad because these past few years have been a therapy because it's been freaking depressing. So we'll see what happens. But we love you guys. Go Gators in all kinds of weather, baby. Let's get this 2026 season started. We'll see you next week. Appreciate you guys watching. Catch you next time, baby. Bye.